Hello, everyone. In case you don't know who we are, hi, I'm Tony. This is Angela, and here's Daz. And we're the admins of the Back to the Future The Musical fans Facebook group, which I created after watching the world premiere at the Manchester Opera House in February 2020. And as you may have noticed, we're also joined by a very special guest today. That's right, it's writer and producer of Back to the Future and the guardian of the entire Back to the Future franchise, the one and only Bob Gale.
Thank you. Thank you. Thanks for having me here. Happy to be here.
Obviously, one of the real key things of the musical is the music. And so we discussed the book before and how you were involved with writing that. How much did you get involved with contributing to like the lyrics or the music? Is that something you just left to like Alan and Glenn to figure out, like that's their domain, or were you still like suggesting certain lyrics and things?
No. We were everybody really worked together as a team. And we at the very beginning, we all went through the movie and said, we had a transcript of the movie and kind of said, okay, well, where do we see all the opportunities for songs, and what would these songs be about? And we had about 25 of them in the early stages to say, okay, there could be a song here, there could be a song here. And then after that, we kind of let Al and Glenn run with the ball for a little while and see what they came up with. And they came up with some really, really fantastic stuff. And then Bob and I would listen to this and go through it with them and say, yeah, this is working. Or they come up with, well, this would really work really well in a song. And I'd say, yeah, it really will. And I can change the book so that the song works better for the scene. Sometimes Glenn would say to me, he'd call me up and say, hey, Bob, I got this new song. You need to come to my studio and let me play it for you. And it was Dreamers. And I said, oh my God, this is fabulous. We have to have this in the show. And so, I did some rejiggering in Act 2 to make sure that would work. And so, yeah, we had to change. I would change the structure a little bit because it was a musical, and because we would say, okay, this song absolutely has to be in the show. Al and Glenn wrote a song called "When You're Really Cool," and that was a song that became "Put Your Mind to It," because I heard the song and I said, okay, this is a good song, but Marty isn't really going to try to teach George how to be cool. He needs to teach George how to have confidence. And so, I sat with the guys and I said, this is what the song really needs to do. And they said, oh, yeah, right. We get that. Yeah, okay. And then they took another pass at it and it became Put Your Mind to It. So we all worked together. I mean, look, we left our egos outside the door, and it's like, okay, yeah, I contributed a line or two, a lyric here or there, and Alan Glenn said, why don't you put a line in the book here? So everybody just kind of, we crossed over the lines of our jobs, our stated jobs, but it was all just to make the show better, and that's what we did.
Great, we're glad you did. Are you very musical though? Do you play any instruments? Do you sing, dance?
Oh my God, you don't want to hear me sing. That would be.
We do.
That would be a disaster of the space-time continuum. You don't want that. I took piano lessons when I was a kid, so I can pick out a tune on the piano. I'm not very good. My mom actually was a violinist. She was a professional musician, and when my brothers and I were kids, she made us take piano lessons when we wanted to be, outside playing ball with our friends. And she kind of did that to dissuade us from becoming musicians, because she said, being a musician is not really a great life. It's really hard, and you really have to be good to make a living at it. And so we learned the rudiments of it. If I look at a piece of sheet music, I could maybe pick it out on the piano. But Am I musical? You know, I can remember songs, but no, I don't think you want to leave that in my hands.
And sticking with the music side of things, Bob, we were wondering, we know that there was a delay on this due to the pandemic, but we're wondering if there's an update available on the cast album and whether it's going to include the instrumental score and cues when it is released.
Right now, yes, there's going to be a cast album. Absolutely. The version that we're going to record is not going to include the instrumental cues in the first go round. If it's real successful, maybe Sony is the record company that's going to release it. They may say, you know what, we can do a deluxe version of this and include the orchestral score, maybe some demos, whatever, and do kind of an expanded version. We hope that will happen, but right now, what the focus is, let's get a cast album with the songs, because that's what everybody wants. They want to hear those songs over and over again. I mean, the score, as great as it is, it's, you know, we've got an orchestral score out there for all three movies, and so, you know, Alan just mostly reused material from the movie score, and so that already exists for people to enjoy. So the songs are really the focus.
We'll cross our fingers.
Yeah, well, I mean, when it comes to the songs, I think my favourite song from the musical is "Put Your Mind to It," and I don't think I can put my washing out without singing along to it. I'm literally going down the washing line singing along to it. It's great. But do you have a favourite number in the musical that you really enjoy that stands out?
It depends on what night I'm seeing the show. You know, sometimes, you know, Put Your Mind to It might be my favorite. Then, you know, Cake. I love Cake. Dreamers. I just love Dreamers. I mean, there's so many great. You know, Goldie Wilson's number is so good. I'm happy to say, for me, it's an embarrassment of riches. You just, and every night after the show, you know, I'd be laying in bed and the songs were just kind of always playing in my head, or I wake up the next morning and which song am I going to be humming this morning?
Brilliant.
Yeah, my favorite's got to be Dreamers. I think hearing Roger sing that, just the seriousness of it and the emotion in it, and I think there was not a dry eye in the house, and
so powerful.
You know, it was amazing. Ange, what was your favorite?
I'm the same. It's such a moment of stillness in the show for the Dreamers, and the rest of the show is so exuberant and loud and big, and that moment's just so still. And I think the lyrics touch a little bit of every one of us. So, and Roger Bart just sings it so beautifully that that one blows me away.
It was great to have those original songs in there, but did you ever consider making Back to the Future the Musical like one of these jukebox musicals with fewer original songs and just more hits from the 50s and the 80s?
No, we never did. I mean, we always felt like that was the easy way out. If you're going to put and what was interesting in the process, you know, for example, in the workshops before we had the song Cake, it was Mr. Sandman, just like in the movie, and it was Bob Zemeckis who said after watching it, he said, you know what? He said, this song doesn't help us with anything. We need a song that does what the visuals do in the movie. And we got to talking and thinking, okay, yeah, you know what would really be fun here is to have the musical version of all the crazy things that Marty is seeing, and people thinking that this is great, you know, smoking cigarettes, it's great. Having asbestos in your house, it's great. And it added a whole level of social comment and humor. And nobody misses Mr. Sandman. It's Cake is better. And then we also had that same thing with Deep Diving for Love at the Enchantment Under the Sea Dance. First, we had it like in the movie Night Train, and I don't remember who it was who said, "Look, we got Cedric Neal here. He's fantastic. We need to have him sing something." And Glenn wrote this song that sounds like it's a perfect type of 1955 type of song. You hear that and say, "Well, is this a real song or not?" And it's perfect because it's the Enchantment Under the Sea Dance. It's about being underwater and swimming and finding love underwater. It's just a perfect thing, and it's so much better than any song that we could have gotten for Night Train or any other song we could have gotten out of the music library. We knew we had to have Power of Love and Back in Time and Johnny Be Good and Earth Angel. Because those were Johnny Be Good and Earth Angel, of course, are story points, and touchstones, and the Huey Lewis numbers, of course, are touchstones as well. But after that, nothing else was important that was in the movie. So it's a musical. Let's give the public more music, more songs, more new stuff.
Right, and it worked really well. I'm pleased that there was still the cue for Mr. Sandman, just leading into Cake. I think you can never hear that song without thinking about Marty walking into the courthouse square in the 50s.
Oh, but can we take you to a question about casting now? We know that in terms of the principals, some of them were involved from very, very early in the process. You've talked about workshops in the past, but can you be a little bit more specific about how you found Roger Bart and Olly Dobson? Because the casting for those two is absolute perfection.
Roger was actually cast when Jamie Lloyd was going to direct the show. And that came about real early on, and then when we made the change, and it was time for John to think about who these people would be. John knew Roger from having worked with him on something, and thought that was a great idea, and so we called up Roger and said, "You still want to do this?" And he said, "Absolutely." Olly came in for auditions, and it was a very interesting process because our casting director, David Grinrod, obviously based in London, John is based in New York, the rest of us are in California, Colin, of course, in London, and the producer, and David was just putting these people on tape, and he'd pick out the three that he thought were the best. And we'd get these auditions, we'd download them on the internet and watch them, and we'd all compare notes. And 90% of the time, we were all in complete agreement. And I remember at one point, John said, "Boy, maybe this is a better way to do casting, because all these people that we've picked out here, they turned out to be so fantastic." So yeah, that's how it was. I mean, we all kind of talked about it. There were things, Glenn and Al would be more sensitive to how well did they sing. John and I were a little bit more focused on how well do they act. But I say 90% of the time we were all in agreement.
Daz, you did have a little theory about Roger, didn't you?
I did. The only reason being is because I'd seen on a previous interview with yourself that obviously Robert and Leslie came up with the idea of came up with an assumption of Back to the Future the Musical after watching the show The Producers, which I know Roger Bart was in. So I was just wondering if I obviously just wondered if Robert and Leslie thought that's our Doc Brown if Roger Bart was in that production that they saw, but Obviously not after what you've just said.
No, it didn't come out that way. It is an interesting bit of trivia and how things kind of interlace.
Yeah.
Okay, Bob. Time Circuit's on again. Pop a banana peel and a Miller High Life coming to Mr. Fusion. This time we're going into the future to the Adelphi Theatre in London on the 20th of August, 2021. You can see here we've all got our merchandise from the show. We've seen there's some updated mugs and magnets where they've replaced Manchester Town Hall with Big Ben and Elizabeth Tower. Does the merchandise go past your eyes? Do you get to see that? Is there anything new we can look forward to that we can spend our hard-earned money on?
I actually have not seen any new merchandise yet, and thank you for reminding me about that, because after we finish this call, I will shoot over an email to our merchandise people and see if they have anything new cooked up. I imagine that there will be something. Yes, they would show me stuff, and I would make suggestions. But I think that a lot of the stuff that we had in Manchester will have versions of that for London. And my God, they were amazed. We sold out all the merchandise in the order in the first 48 hours in Manchester, and they just had to jam to get more merchandise in the pipeline because people wanted more merchandise, and we didn't have it for a couple of nights.
Whatever you've got, I'm sure you'll sell it all. I know people were just saying, like, one of everything. Just give me one of everything you've got. Yeah. The queues are so huge, people were just mad for it.
So one of the things I wanted to ask is, we've seen little bits of rehearsal videos from the when they were practicing for the Manchester run. We were wondering whether you actually had a film crew documenting the rehearsals, both for Manchester and possibly London, bits of behind the scenes stuff, and in anticipation of maybe a behind the scenes documentary, which we would all absolutely love.
The answer is yes. We have a whole lot of video of our workshops, of our rehearsals, lots of interview stuff, some of which you've already seen online, and some of which is just it's just there. And yeah, we hope that the show will warrant having a documentary made about it. We don't want to be in a hurry to put that out there, because we want to give the show a chance to be the show without, looking behind the curtain, if you will. Mm-hmm. So, as Doc Brown said in part 3, you never know what the future may bring, and so we don't either. But it does exist, and if we can figure out a good way to get it out there, we will.
So going on to rehearsals, which I imagine will be starting very soon, July next month, come around quick. Will the original band be back together? Will yourself, Glenn and Alan be heading over to London?
Oh yeah. Everybody's coming back. The musicians, I think all of them are coming back. We have a few changes in the ensemble. A couple of our ensemble members got bigger parts in other shows, and we're sad to see them go. But we know that this is a good thing for their careers, and we wish them the best. There's other people for other reasons are not coming back, but we have some new people involved. Again, we went through the whole casting process with them, and everybody feels confident that they're going to fit right in. And I'm sure that with the energy that they're going to pick up from everybody else, it's going to be fantastic.
Yeah, Angela, you saw today some of the ensemble on Instagram saying that they were going into the theatre to do some costume fittings. It's so exciting, like seeing these small updates of like, well, this is happening, it's really coming back. Do you think, like, is there any chance that the run at the Adelphi, maybe you can't say, but is there a chance that that might get extended if it starts selling really well, or is it?
I would think so. I mean, we're booked in there into February. Listen, if a show's making money, the theater's going to figure out a way to keep it in there, because let's face it, that's a real important part of this whole process.
You touched on this slightly a little bit earlier, Bob, but we knew that the show was going to premiere in the wonderful Manchester, and we knew that the West End was its next destination. We were wondering, is there an actual set next place for it? We would have thought that the next natural place for it to go would be Broadway, but is there a timeline for that at all?
There's no timeline yet. I mean, certainly any timeline that we would have had went out the window with COVID, right? So we've got people in other parts of the world who want the show, but we're just kind of watching. We're hoping that Bojo doesn't change his mind about July 19th, right? I mean, that'd be a disaster. So it's real hard to make your plans when people, things that you have no control over can just throw a real monkey wrench into them.
Have you had any thoughts at all about whether it would be a complete recast if it moves to Broadway, or if any of the current cast would move over to help it settle in?
I think that if and when, knock on wood, we get it to Broadway, it'll be an all new cast, because my hope is, it'll be playing in Broadway while it is still playing in the West End, and we'll just have two companies doing it now, and then maybe three, maybe four, which is how many companies are there doing Wicked, right? How many companies are there doing Harry Potter and doing Phantom and so forth, and Book of Mormon and Hamilton. So there are. This is normal to have, and there's so many talented people out there. That was one of the other gratifying things when we in the casting process, to just see how many incredibly talented performers there are in London, and I think that translates, through the whole rest of the world.
I mean, the only thing I'd say with that is hopefully we can keep Roger in London. Don't steal him for the US. We need him in London.
That's
in the future,
that's up to Roger, I think.
In the future, can you see it being a touring production? Do you think it'd do like a UK tour kind of thing? Could you see it again in Manchester in the future, do you think?
Oh, absolutely. That's the dream. We want to have touring productions of this in the UK. Take it over to Ireland. Take it up to Glasgow and Edinburgh. Take it everywhere. And the same in the States. Just there's lots of big cities in America where the audiences would love to see this. So yeah, we definitely want to figure out how to make it, how to put it on a truck and take it everywhere it needs to go.
On a kind of related note to that, after it's gone to Broadway, after it's done the touring productions, let's think 20 years down the road, I used to do drama and theatre studies at school, and we would put on our annual productions of Grease, and they were probably pretty terrible. I'm not a great singer, but I still had to have a part. But they were loads of fun. Can you imagine, or would you be supportive of amateur and school productions?
School versions of it? Absolutely. Yeah. Community college versions? Sure. Why not? I mean, really? The material resonates so well that people can have a good time with it. Even if they're a little bit off key and the illusions aren't what they are in the good version. I mean, when I was in high school, our production was Guys and Dolls, which was really my first exposure to that musical. And yeah, okay, it's not what they did on Broadway. It's not what they did in the movie, but everybody had a good time doing it. And the 3 nights that we did it, the people that came had a great time watching it. So yeah, I hope in 20 years, they're doing this in every school all over the world.
I can't wait for that. I really want to see some of those.
And with that, Bob, we are pretty much done. We've just got one final question. As the show did only run for 3 weeks, as we know, we have got a lot of members who didn't get to see the show but are looking forward to doing so. So can you just sum up in a short phrase why everyone should head to the Adelphi Theatre this late summer to see the show?
Listen, a lot of people say to me, is there going to be a Back to the Future 4? Why don't you do a Back to the Future 4? But I think that when they ask about that, what they're really saying is, we want to have an experience that is the experience we had when we saw Back to the Future the first time. That's what they really want. Well, that's what you get with Back to the Future the Musical. You go, and it is Back to the Future, but it's also like seeing it for the first time, because it's just different enough where there's a lot of new, wonderful things. It's just the same enough where you're very familiar with it, and you're right there. It's all around you, and so that's why everybody needs to go see this at the Adelphi Theatre, because it is Back to the Future. It's a new way of experiencing Back to the Future. And if for those of you that were fortunate enough to go to Secret Cinema Presents Back to the Future, and how wonderful that was, and it was like a new way to experience Back to the Future, that's what the musical is.
Fantastic, great way to finish, and we can all not highly recommend the musical enough. We wish you all the very best with rehearsals, safe travels over here to the UK, and we cannot wait to see you in around about 8 weeks' time at the
Adelphi Theatre. Yes, I can't wait to see all you guys in the flesh.
Can't wait.
In the future.
Thank you so much. This has been an honour.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you for everything, Bob.
Bye-bye.